Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. This was shared with me by one of my followers on Twitter. You know who you are. Thank you very much. Now I'm sure you've heard about the rare sea creatures that have been washing up on the shores of California and Brazil. Well, Putin'S scientists are predicting a mega U.S. earthquake within 2 weeks. In a new report prepared for Prime Minister Putin by the Institute of Physics of the Earth warned that America in the next 2 weeks is in danger of catastrophic proportions earthquake, focusing on the U.S., Mexico, Central and South America, and the region along the west coast of the new Madrid zone fault. Scientists have urged government officials to prepare for a terrifying and unprecedented magnitude 9 earthquake that would unleash a deadly tsunami with 30-meter high waves. I guess the one they had in 2011 in Japan was 20 meters high. The Cascadia subduction zone is a region where 2 tectonic plates are colliding. The Juan de Fuca, a small oceanic plate, is being driven under the North American plate, atop which the continental U.S. sits. Subduction systems, where one tectonic plate slides over another, are capable of producing the world's largest known earthquakes. A prime example is the 2011 Tohoku earthquake that rocked Japan. Japan evidently is getting ready for a magnitude 9 because of the ominous sighting of the rare oarfish there. Cascadia is seismically very quiet compared to other subduction zones. That is so true. But it is not completely inactive. Research indicates the fault rupture in a magnitude 9 event in 1700. That was up by Oregon, Washington. Whole islands sunk and vanished during that earthquake. The tsunami traveled all the way across the Pacific to Japan, and they recorded it in their history. All these other areas around the Ring of Fire have been having magnitude 5s and 6 earthquakes, but the U.S. hasn't. Just shows you there's a lot of stored energy waiting to be unleashed in one rapid, devastating moment. So the 9.0 earthquake event in 1700, it was roughly 30 times more powerful than the largest predicted San Andreas earthquake. Researchers suggest that we are within the roughly 300 to 500 year window, during which another large Cascadia event may occur. The report also warned that further catastrophic earthquakes in Asia and the subcontinent as more than likely. Increasing concern about the possibility of a mega earthquake, the report says, is based on the growth of subtle electromagnetic signals that were detected in the upper atmosphere of the Earth in many parts of the world. With the most intense, they appear on the U.S. West Coast and parts of the Midwest. Yeah, the other night I witnessed, I believe it's called tower lights. I'll be posting it later. That definitely was a very rare event here in South Dakota. It is important to note that Russia and British scientists are leaders in predicting earthquakes based on these subtle electromagnetic signals that have joined forces to launch a satellite into space to better track them. More ominously, the report is that Russian scientists have confirmed the independent analysis of New Zealand mathematician and long-term weather trends forecaster Ken Ring, who predicted the deadly earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand, and this week issued a new warning that a new earthquake should strike around the 20th of March.
A lot's going on around March the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Heads up, Saints.
Scientists have declared it's not a matter of when, not if, a devastating earthquake strikes New Zealand, unleashing a mega tsunami that could wreak havoc across large parts of the world. Geologists in the New Zealand claim the Hikurangi subduction zone is one of the world's biggest fault lines, and there is evidence that it could soon set off a quake and a subsequent tsunami. Well, they recently had a sunfish that came from that area that washed up on the shore in California. The rupture of the fault line would cause damage and destruction on a scale bigger than the Japanese earthquake and tsunami of 2011. Ring explains his methodology for predicting earthquakes in the following way. Planet's strong influence on the Earth, but indirectly, by influencing the sun. Some planets are very large. If the sun were a basketball, the gas giants Jupiter and Saturn would be the size of a grapefruit, and the Earth, on such a scale, would be about the size of a grain of pepper. Jupiter and Saturn cause extra tides on the sun, as in the case of the Earth and the Moon. These large solar tides become solar activity and solar flares. There was one reported yesterday that was extremely odd. That was a solar flare on the sun that I'm talking about. At the moment, Jupiter and Saturn are on the opposite sides of the sun and create time tug-of-war with Earth in the center. It began in September of last year and would continue until about May. Well, they're predicting May 20th. In September, the Earth was in line with the Sun, Jupiter, and Saturn. That's why in different places, earthquakes above 7 points. I guess he's saying magnitude 7. For example, in Pakistan, there was an earthquake at the same time with the earthquake in Christchurch. This alignment of Jupiter-Saturn will continue until about May, and the Earth will be back online in March. That is why around the 20th of March to expect accidents, large earthquakes. May, when the Moon may be again in the position to trigger element. Referred to in this report, low pressure associated with catastrophic earthquakes in the Midwest, which today continues to suffer from heavy rainfall. Well, here we're having heavy snow. They're predicting up to a foot of snow on Saturday here. And in particular, effect on the New Madrid Fault in Arkansas, which is only in the last 6 months has experienced 800 earthquakes. But the most ominous in this report is a warning that penetrated faults, California, can survive the most devastating earthquake last decades, as new reports for this region show that the mass death of millions of fish, just like when whales stranded on beaches of New Zealand for a few days before the destruction of Christchurch on February 22nd. Further clouds the situation, and the sun continues to emit large solar flares. Interestingly, the U.S. declared the rare exercise with the U.S. military, the CIA, Canadian representatives of the U.S. Treasury, and the State Department, the U.S. Agency for International Development, the agency-ready response to the threats, and the Red Cross between March 21st and the 25th at Fort Leavenworth, Staff, Kansas. And if the worst happens, they certainly will be ready. Reminds me of the shipment that was shown, videos of the Transformers. Truckloads, or was it trains of Transformers being shipped towards the west. The recent disaster drill that was held in Los Angeles. And the trainloads of all the military equipment going where? I think they were heading for Kansas. Much more than the earthquake, the tsunami would be a dangerous element. Waves up to 30 meters could be seen, and landfall could happen within just 7 minutes' notice. The preparedness plan is coordinating between scientists, government officials, emergency services, health providers, business experts, and NFO leaders. Martha Savage, professor of geophysics at Victoria University, said the longer the wait, the bigger the quake. In seminary, the report said that it is not an established, a solid and reliable prediction mechanism, which would have been recognized by the scientific community. It is worth noting, too big to ignore, abnormal numbers of matches, leading to catastrophic mega earthquakes occurring around the world, and which, ignored until then, until they pose a direct threat. Geologists have recently been able to deploy hundreds of GPS monitors across Cascadia to record the subtle ground deformations that result from the plates' inability to slide past each other. Just like historic seismicity, plate locking is more common in the northern and southern parts of Cascadia. Yeah, and that's the problem with the Juan de Fuca fault line. It's locked for so long that they considered it healed, but of course it's not healed. All that energy is just being stored for one quick big snap. Geologists are also now able to observe difficult to detect seismic rumbling known as tremor. These events occur over a time span of several minutes to weeks, taking much longer than a typical earthquake. They don't cause large ground motions, even though they can release significant amounts of energy. Researchers have only discovered these signals in the last 15 years. Yeah, the science about geology, the Earth, is about 100 years behind in other sciences. But permanent seismic stations have helped build a robust catalog of events. Tremor, too, seems to be more concentrated along the northern and southern parts of the fault. Our results provide new insights on how this subduction zone, and possibly others, behaves over geologic time frames of millions of years. Unfortunately, our results can't predict when the next large Cascadia megathrust earthquake will occur. This will require more research and dense active monitoring of the subduction zone, both onshore and offshore, using seismic and GPS-like stations to capture short-term phenomena. Our work does suggest that a large event is more likely to start in either the northern or southern section of the fault, where the plates are more fully locked, and gives a possible reason for why that may be the case. It remains important for the public and the policymakers to stay informed about the potential risk involved in cohabiting with the subduction zone fault, and to support programs such as earthquake early warning that seek to expand our monitoring capabilities and mitigate loss in the event of a large rupture. There is a lot of warnings going out from many countries that a large earthquake is coming. I think I should heed the warning and be prepared. So what are your thoughts? Put your comments down below. Please subscribe. Please thumbs up my videos. Please stay safe. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Heads up. A lot is going on towards that time frame. And I've been listening to a lot of dreams of the children. They're saying it's a huge earthquake that happens right before the rapture. So I thought I would bring this to your attention. And you stay close to your family. Hug and kiss your wife. Pray without ceasing. Thank you for listening and have a blessed day. Bye now.